So I wanted to make this video about just moving to different areas and the process of adjusting to a new environment, culture, people. Just moving is hard in general today, especially for young people who are trying to get out of their parents' house. And how that really affects the dating market, especially for men. So this is mostly going to be focused on men. It's not going to be really focused on women. So if you're a woman watching this, I'm sorry. It's kind of, this video's for guys. So, but if you watch the video anyways, I appreciate the like, subscribe, the comment. Feel free to show any support in the comment section, and we'll get the video started. So for me personally, moving, it's quite a hard adjustment, especially for me as a young dude. And I've generally noticed around new areas that you move to, sometimes people can tell that you're not around from the area. Maybe if it's a really small, it depends on the area. If it's like sized into this small area where people kind of know each other, you're definitely going to stick out, and people are definitely going to tell you're not from around here. But in more bigger areas like the cities or even the suburbs, it can still affect your everyday life. And it's hard to adjust because when you're like in that situation, you grew up in this area your entire life. Let's say you didn't have the blessing of moving out as soon as you graduate high school, or you didn't go to college or something like that. It's even difficult for kids who went to college. Like I know so many kids or young adults who went to college, graduated, and they moved back in with their parents because they can't afford to, move away or live on their own right now because the cost of living is it's so high. Gotta quit saying so much. But people are just, people don't like to step out of their comfort zone. But that's the great thing about doing it, is once you do that, you're going to be able to gain more confidence in yourself. You're going to be able to adapt to better situations, especially with new experiences that happen to you every day. And, you have to be able to learn that with, new areas comes new responsibility. Moving out of your parents' house is the hardest thing for a lot of people. Sometimes it's easy because people are so desperate to get away, live on their own. But sometimes people don't realize like the adjustment it takes, because when you were living with your parents, you kind of had these border securities around you that protected you, that you had access to, close help if something happened to you, or you had, access to coming back to someone, if things didn't work out, or living with someone that you grew up your entire life with, that you really know the environment so well enough that you're not going to, be uncomfortable with maybe getting a job further outside the area, but it's within the range where you can just drive back to your parents' house and still live there. I mean, situations vary on, different types of, I guess, situations, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is that when you move out of your parents' house and you go somewhere, excuse me, far from where you grew up, it's very hard to adjust. And it's scary. I mean, it's pretty scary. People generally don't like to, move too far because they kind of want to still have access to, to people they know in case something does go wrong. And I have this same feeling. Like, I don't want to go too far where I don't I don't have my parents close by, where, in case something does happen and I really don't, fully understand the situation, or I need assistance, I'm within a range where I can, go back to them and ask them for help, or contact them where they can come down and, be able to help me out a little bit. And that's kind of the whole, I guess, mindset a lot of people have, is, including myself, it's like, it's hard to really like step out of this bubble you have been encased your whole life. Now, how does this affect your dating life for guys? Growing up in the area, it's in two categories. I would sometimes argue three. One, the area, maybe you grew around the types of women that you have grown close to, and I would not recommend being friends with them, but if you know them well enough and throughout the, like, if you've kind of have built that connection with them where you feel like you can date them or ask them out, that's kind of the mindset for some people. Two, the area is too small, right? It can also be like the fact that there's two towns. One is small and one is kind of larger than the other, and they're kind of like right next door to each other. So I grew up in a small town that was right next door to like maybe a mile drive to the next town that was big, and everybody grew up in that area and everybody knew one another. And so people kind of got with each other. And as for me, growing up in a kind of more isolated town, I didn't go to that town school. I went to the other town school, but I wasn't able to live in that town. So I didn't have the access of going, driving around or hanging out with people after school, walking around the town, doing things with them. I had to go straight back to my town. I really didn't have that luxury and type of access. And so that was very difficult for me to really build relationships and connections with people, and especially grow my social skills as a whole. So that kind of is another category people struggle in, is if they grew close to the area, but they're not directly within the area. That can definitely affect their whole dating life, for guys especially. And girls, girls who get with guys in that certain town area who have, hung out with who have known those guys for a long time, they usually get together. I'm not saying that's the case the whole time, but most of the case from what I've seen, that's really what generally happens. So people have this thing where you grow up in a kind of like culture, really orientated area, and it's very like strict about their society and their way of life, like in a small area. People are not as open to really stepping outside their boundaries or kind of letting new people in. And that is one thing I definitely knew about the area I'm from, is that I know a lot of people that I went to school with or around the area that got with other people that I know or went to school with that kind of stayed in this small isolated area because they felt comfortable, which is kind of okay, but kind of comes to that mindset. If you're not willing to step outside your comfort zone and really go out into the real world and experience new things every day and learn, you're not really going to be as prepared. You're not going to be prepared. You're not going to be willing to grow, and you're not going to be able to really socialize well. So guys, it's hard to understand that stepping out of your comfort zone is the most important thing to do. You gotta learn to socialize. You need to learn how to talk to girls. You need to learn how to be confident. Confidence is the key. Doesn't mean that you're gonna be successful. Look, I'd rather talk to a bunch of girls and get rejected than not be able to talk to girls at all. If I get rejected at the end of the day, I get rejected, but at least I'm growing from every experience or interaction I have with every girl. I'm learning more about women, saying, okay, what to do, what not to do when you're talking to them, what to say, what turns them on, what sets them off. Like one word with a woman and it's over for you. So it's a long journey for me. And you need to, I guess, have this mindset of like, diving in, it's going to be painful. There's going to be a lot of failure with this, but eventually success will come. It's like Rome wasn't built in a day. Hard work isn't going to produce results straight away. You need to keep being consistent, work hard, It's like throwing a football as a quarterback. Like, you're not going to be able, if you're starting to train as a quarterback, your spirals are going to be wobbly. They might not even be spirals at all. But if you keep consistency and you keep your mechanics and you keep doing it on a consistent schedule, you're going to get results. You're going to get consistency and fluid, smooth motion. And it's the same method and formula for anything you do in life to get results. I'm not saying it's going to be successful, but you will improve in some form of matter. So I guess this video is just trying to I guess, explain that stepping out of your comfort zone is key to success. It's not easy. It's never easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But that's what sets you apart from most people. If you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, you're willing to do the things that most people are not willing to do, that's going to set you apart from a lot of people. And people will generally respect you for that and might even be willing to socialize and hang out with you. I mean, obviously, you need to work on your social skills, and that's something I'm still learning to do. But it's important to be willing to do things that you weren't willing to do in the past in order to get results, to be successful. So thank you for that's it for the video. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will catch you all in the next video.